Hello, welcome to Divine Counsel. I'm very pleased to be here. I am your host, Pamela Mcpherson, and you are in tune to none other than PRZ 109.2 FM. This is Divine Counsel. Now, it's great to be here again to talk to you about family issues, family matters. And today we're going to look at the daughter of Jacob. Now, Jacob had 13 children. Yes, 13. 12 boys and, yes, a girl. From 4 different women. The first wife was Leah. Her sons were Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Isaiah, and Zebulun. Sorry, sometimes these names are difficult for me to pronounce, but yeah, Leah had 6 sons and 1 daughter, Dinah. Then Jacob was married to Rachel, his second wife, the love of his life, and she had 2 sons, Joseph and Benjamin. Then the third wife was Bilhah, which is Rachel's maidservant, and she had Dan and Naphtali. And then the fourth wife was Zillah, and that's Leah's maidservant, and she had Gad and Asher, 2 sons. But today's talk is about daughters matters. Daughters matter. Jacob had 1 daughter, and she was surrounded by brothers. It's hard. I know it's difficult to be a girl surrounded by brothers. They are very overprotective. She must have felt suffocated. They must be keeping their eyes on her all the time. I mean, I understand that a lot of boys are very protective over their sister, and they don't want any other boy to, mess around or talk to their sister or try to date their sister without their permission. So I know how it could be very, very difficult for Dinah when she was a young teenage girl. She must have been doing a lot of the housework, a lot of the cooking, even babysitting. She would have been doing all those things that they will say is women's work. But at the same time, as young girls, we want to be free, to be creative, to be what we want to be, to leave our mark, to say that we have dreams also. We have things that we want to achieve also as young girls. And to be surrounded by brothers, not even just 1, 2, 3 brothers, but 12 brothers, it must have been very difficult for her. And of course, a father plan is fathers usually just want to protect their daughter and keep them safe and don't want the daughters to ever grow up. I mean, there's a running joke with my friend and his daughter. He always says she's not going to get married until she's 30. It's this thing that men like to protect their daughters a lot. However, we're looking at Genesis 34. It talked about Dinah for as a young girl that wanted to see Dinah, sorry, there's some people pronounce it Dina, some people pronounce it Dinah. She wanted to see what the other local girls are doing in the area. She went out. She went to look. She went out of her camp. Why did she want to see? Why did she want to see what the other females of the land was doing? There is a saying, I believe it's a West Indian saying, that you get what you're looking for. And it seems quite harsh, that saying, but it means sometimes you go looking for something and then you may not like what you get. And the saying is, well, they're saying, well, you shouldn't have gone out there in the first place, so you get what you're looking for. And it's very harsh, but Dinah wanted to go out, wanted to see what was happening in the local community, how the other girls dressed, how the other girls entertained themselves. And this is what happens now in our community. Our girls want to go out there, dress up, look pretty, go to parties or youth clubs or activities. They want to be a part of what's going out in the community. And unfortunately for Dinah, she's straight out of the hedge of protection, because she wanted the excitement of others, because we think it looks good on the other side. We look at other people, the way they dress. They got the latest, teenagers. They got the latest Nike. They got the latest Nike top, Nike shoes. And they want to be like that. They want to be like everyone else. That's why a lot of our children get caught up in selling drugs, because they want to be like everyone else. They want to have the latest mobile or the latest gadgets. They want to go and do what everybody else is doing, and they get caught up, and they get more than what they bargain for. When they do this, when they're looking for what they think is good, they don't see the dark side until it's too late, until they are fully immersed into the dark side, where they are trapped and they don't know how to get back out. Ignorance plays a big part. Sometimes we walk into situations vulnerable, not knowing if it's a dangerous trap. Most probably, Dana had some kind of affection to Shechem. Some of you may not know the story of Dinah and what happened to her. She went out of the safety of her camp to explore the local community, and a young man, and I believe that he was a prince, saw her, took a liking to her, and some Bibles say he took her, and others Bibles say he raped her. So she got into a situation that she did not know anything about. She just wanted to see. She just wanted to know. And maybe she did take a liking to him, but she didn't want to go that far with him. And this happens to a lot of young girls. They tend to like a boy and they don't really want to go far with them. And they feel fearful at times to say no. sometimes they get so caught up with this boy that they will do whatever it takes to keep this young man. Or sometimes, as what happens to Dana, she got raped. Now, this caused a lot of problems. And remember, Dinah had 12 brothers. So you can just imagine how much problem that actually caused. One is disrespect. We look at it as nowadays, on the street nowadays. And lots of young people always say, that's the disrespect. They diss me. They need to respect me. They want respect. And to them, respect is a big thing. And when someone steps on their toe, disrespects them, a lot of young people will retaliate, fight, cause harm. And this is what happened in Dinah's situation. Now, in the word, it says, Shechem was not a bad lad. He allowed his emotions to get the better of him. He made a wrong decision to force Dinah to lay with him. Shechem, in verses 3 and 4, seemed like he regretted his actions to what he did or what he'd done to Dinah. So we started to speak kindly to her. His love for her was overwhelming, and he wanted her for his wife. So he was remorseful. He sought forgiveness. And I'm not saying that rape is a good it shouldn't be punished, or it shouldn't be disciplined or something, because you do not rape or harm others in any way. It is a violation. It is soul destroying to be raped, to be abused by another. And I know that he regretted his move. He regretted his decision. His emotions took over. He wasn't thinking clearly. But it was too late. He had regrets. And we do things that we regret. And we want to find some way to make amends. In verse 19, he says Shimshon was the most honorable one in his family. So that means he wasn't a bad lad. He just did something wrong. His emotions ran away with him. And he did what he shouldn't have done. So to me, it shows me that this was out of character. He made a big mistake. It wasn't acceptable. Rape is not acceptable in any way. No is no. However, it was too late. When Dana's brothers found out, revenge was on their minds. And this is what we see in our community today. Sometimes we get into, or young people get into such a trap, gone into the dark side of life and can't find their way out. And they regret and they want to find a way out. They want to get out. They want to stop what they're doing, selling drugs, causing harm to other people. You know, even some have paid the price. Some young people have gone to prison for the crime that they've committed. They served their time. Some want to come out again and try to start anew. But the problem is, the people who are affected has not forgiven, has not moved on. So they still have revenge in their hearts. They still have revenge on their mind. And this is what we see with Dinah's brothers, seeking justice by their own emotional logic. Simeon and Levi, the second and third eldest brothers, hot-headed, going with emotions of rage and anger, plotting to commit genocide, wiping out a complete city when the city was defenseless. This is what happens when we make the wrong move, when we don't pay attention to our children. They want to see what is out there. Dinah wanted to see what was out there. She wanted to know, what does the other young girls do? How come they dress up like that? How come they look like that? How come they have these latest gear? How come their hair is the way it is? And then they start mixing in areas and in situations they don't know nothing about. And they get caught. And it doesn't just affect them. It affects the family. Some of our young girls end up selling drugs. Some of our young girls end up prostituting. Some of our young girls end up being pregnant. And that's because we wasn't paying enough attention to our daughters. We was not talking to them enough. We was not explaining what is out there. What are they seeing? We just think, stay at home, do the cooking, clean up, get home. We didn't think that they're developing, they're changing. They have free will, they have ambition, they have desires. We just assume that we're parents, they must listen and do what we're told. Sometimes I see young girls leaving home from school to go to school, and their skirts are very long past their knees when they leave their parents' house, and as soon as they get to the bus stop, I watch them turn up their skirts by the waist to make their skirts shorter and above the knees. Now, that shows me that somebody's daughter is hiding what they really want to do from their parents. That shows me that that daughter cannot go to their mother or father and say, I want to look a certain way. She's sneaking out to look this way, and the parents don't know this at all. This shows me that there's a lack of communication, lack of education. Not telling your daughters about the birds and the bees and the facts of life. And then they end up getting trapped. And if they have hot-headed brothers, then it causes a circle, a vicious circle of getting the person back. If they have touched their sister or harmed their sister in any way, they want to get them back in some way. Jacob's sons, Simeon and Levi, used God's law of circumcision to strike them down, to strike Shinshem and his family and the community and his sisters down. Simeon and Levi convinced that community that if they want to marry their sister Dinah, they had to be circumcised. And because the young man was so in love with Dinah, he was willing to do whatever it take. He really regretted his actions. He just wanted her to be his wife. And he convinced his father, the father and him convinced the community, and they all decided to get circumcised. Simeon and Levi used this opportunity, which is a sacred thing, to kill, to wipe out. This ceremony of circumcision was meant to be a godly ceremony, sacred. And they used it as an opportunity to stain and kill. And on top of that, they plundered the city. Now, some people may think, yeah, well, what's wrong with that? He done a crime. He deserved to be punished, blah, blah, blah. Yes, there is a crime. There are crimes being committed. There was a crime being committed. And there should be a punishment. But to murder a whole entire family, to wipe out an entire city, it's more than just wanting to seek revenge. That's more than just seeking revenge. To threatening, it's like young people. They bring trouble to their family home. And it's not just the young person that's being threatened, but the family themselves are being threatened. The family themselves having no peace, day in and day out. If it's not the gangs that are coming to the house and harassing the family, then most probably the police may be coming to the house, and they can't have no peace where they live because of one mistake or a choice that somebody made, a young person made within the family. Now this situation made Jacob an approach obnoxious to the other nations. If it wasn't because of the protection of God over Jacob, I believe the other nations would have wiped them out because of fear of what two sons did to a town. Sometimes looking for something is exciting, but the excitement can lead you to run into the devil's trap, getting caught up with others seeing things they want, being led astray, getting involved so deep. It can cause your whole family to be uprooted. Dinah just wanted to see, but it caused Jacob to have to uproot his family and his workers and to leave where they were settling for a while in haste. I just want to say to parents, remember that your daughter matters. Your daughters matters. Don't ignore their feelings. Don't ignore what they want to do. Talk to them. Speak to them. This is your host, Pamela Mcpherson, on 109.2 FM. And I want to say good night and have a good day.
Tune in to Divine Counsel every first and third Sunday of the month on Prayer Rally Zone 109.2 FM, hosted by Pamela Mcpherson and Pastor Ime Akpabayo. We will discuss life matters such as relationships, children, parenting and parent, friendships, church issues, emotions, addictions, and much more, giving insight into life matters. Divine Counsel on Prayer Rally Zone 109.2 FM, your number one Christian radio station.